In order to apply directly to a uni program, you need to have the consent from a supervisor who works at that university that you're applying to, who says they are willing to supervise your research. So how do you go about convincing a world-class research scientist to supervise your project? Start by emailing them. The culture in science is actually wild. There are no HR admins gatekeeping the researchers' email inboxes. All academic staff have their email addresses available on the uni website, and you can simply ping them an email with your idea. I was amazed at how many top neuroscience researchers responded to my emails. Many of them said they didn't have opportunities, to be fair, but they at least took the time to say that no, even if it was just to respectfully decline. Coming from a corporate background where this type of communication did not exist, I was honestly blown away. So the next step is, who do you email? Well, if you have a rough idea on what type of research you want to do, check out who are the most cited researchers in that field, then find out what research institutions those researchers are based at, and then find their email addresses. A key point here, a key point, is go for the very best. My PhD supervisor was my top choice when I sent out the original prospective emails, and I never expected them to respond. When they did respond showing interest, I genuinely couldn't believe it. Like, anything is possible, but you have to give yourself the chance of getting it. If you don't ask, you'll never get. In terms of the email itself, try to keep it brief. You want a little bit about you, your research experience, academic performance, a little bit about why you're interested in their research, be specific with specific papers, and then a little teaser on what your idea is for a PhD project. Secret number 3. Selling your supervisor on your idea. Okay, so by this point, I'm assuming you've had your idea, you've found your supervisor, and your supervisor has agreed to have a call with you to discuss the idea. Now what? Ideally, you want to pitch the idea to a supervisor so that it's a win-win for them and they can't really say no. The way I did this with my supervisor is that I structured my research proposal around testing some predictions from a prominent theory that they had published over a decade ago. I'll definitely go into this in more detail in a future video. You could probably find the link to it somewhere around here. But basically, my supervisor had this very popular theory and I was proposing to test that theory in a new cognitive domain. The fact that this had not been done before meant that the findings would be novel, which is super important for a PhD. And the fact that I was testing a prominent theory in this novel field meant that my supervisor would win whatever the results. Either my new idea is wrong, sad, and the theory is proven correct, in which case my supervisor's theory becomes more robust, or my new idea is right and my supervisor is part of the team that replaces the old theory with a new, more robust, up-to-date theory. Either way, my supervisor wins, and this is the way you want to structure your pitch. Apply that theory to a sub-area of research that has not been applied to before, and test the key predictions from the theory in that new field. Okay, secret number 4. PhD funding application deadlines. You can apply directly to PhD programs at any point throughout the year, but if you want to be eligible for funding, you have to submit your PhD application before the start of December. For me, I think the deadline was 2nd of December 2024. This was the deadline for me to submit my PhD application to my chosen university, and it was also the deadline for me to submit my funding application to my respective UK Research Council. This means that you need to have found your supervisor by, at the very latest, November. And just in case it's not clear, funding essentially means that you get paid a basic salary called a stipend for the entire duration of the 3 years, and that you get the tuition fees paid for. So funding can make a big difference to whether people are able to do a PhD or not. Which leads me on to my next secret. Secret number 5. Funding application versus university application. These are two different things. Your application to do your PhD project at your chosen university is a different application to whether your PhD gets funded or not. I know this might sound bonkers, but bear with me. Your application to the university is about your academic and research experience, your motivations for doing a PhD, and your research proposal. For this application, you need the consent of the supervisor at the research department you're applying to. Your application for funding is about the impact of your proposed research and why it would make a difference to the world. In other words, what real-world value it will bring. There are normally 2 types of funding available for your PhD: funding from your chosen university and funding from a UK Research Council. Normally, the funding from your university will be considered by the university once they have assessed your university application, but for the UK Research Council funding application, you will have to have submitted your university application as well as your funding application in order to be eligible for funding. Both of these applications had to be submitted before 2nd of December in order for me to be eligible for funding. And just a quick reminder, all this chat about funding is for when you're applying directly to a PhD program and when you're not on a DTP. If you're applying to a DTP, there's funding already there, and when you apply, if you're successful, you have funding, okay? Secret number 6. 6? 6. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. Luckily, I decided that I wanted to do a PhD at the start of November 2024. So I had a month to figure out my topic, find a supervisor, submit my applications to the university and for funding. I also had my master's dissertation due on December 3rd, so I had to do all of the PhD admission process and write my thesis in a month. It might sound like a lot, but I did it. I got an 80 on my dissertation and I got accepted onto UCL's Cognitive Neuroscience PhD program. So it's possible. Do not let anyone tell you that you can't do this. As long as you've got an idea for something that hasn't been done before and you've got a determined attitude, you can do this. When I realised in November that I wanted to do a PhD, I was told by people around me that I didn't have enough time to find a supervisor and apply for funding. But it's amazing what can be accomplished when you put your mind to something. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just got to be good enough. Things will change once you start your PhD anyway. This is just about getting your foot in the door. And that's it. Those are the secrets. I'll be doing more videos about how to write your research proposal and other tips for getting into a PhD program. And if you like this video, like it, subscribe, and yeah, see you soon.